Well, I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, and I ended up in Pittsburgh, where I went to Carnegie Mellon, and then I moved to after I graduated Carnegie. I went home to recuperate from viral encephalitis meningitis.
Okay.
And I did a show at St. Louis Repertory and ended up after that show, I ended up in Washington, D.C. And I started to make my reputation in D.C. And before, I lived in D.C. for 25 years, and I performed in almost every theater in D.C., from the Kennedy Center to Arena Stage. So and then everything in between. Yeah. While I was in D.C., I met the casting director of Interact at an event, and he gave me his card, and he was a little smarmy, and I wasn't sure, because you have to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I was a little whippersnapper, So, but I went ahead and I called Seth, and he arranged an audition, and I came to Philadelphia, and I auditioned for, it was an Indazaki play, Lovers in Motion, I think it was the name of it. And yeah, I played, my character was a woman who was being, who was keeping a young photographer, and the young photographer, he had me, who was his bread and butter. Then he had the dancer, and then he had the little slut, and there's a moment in the play where she put me in white. And I find out that he has these other women, and I go through his apartment like a tornado. It was so much fun. But that was my first show here in Philadelphia. And then Seth brought me back for 6221, which was the story of Osage, 6221 Osage Avenue. Move. Yeah. The story of Move. And I did that. We did it at the Irvine Auditorium. We did it at the theater across the street from Irvine. We did it all over the place. And while I was doing 6221, People's Light sent out an announcement looking for black actors for a radio play. So I went and auditioned and got cast. And I really liked People's Light. So I came back the next year and auditioned. I went back twice to audition. And each time I auditioned, Stephen Novelli and Abby Adams said, please come back. We can't use you right now, but we're interested. So they finally came to D.C. and I went and auditioned, and it was the funniest thing because Melanie Finister was with Abby, and Melanie looked up, and they had seen me. They knew who I was because I had performed in Philadelphia, a few times. And Melanie looked up at me and she said, "Ooh, girl, I'm so glad to see you. We need you. We need you so bad. We need you, And eventually, I was hired as a company member at People's Light in '94. And I lived out at People's Light for about 5 years. And then I decided, well, it was rent-free, so, why not? Yeah. But I decided I needed to see some black people, Yeah. I wanted to move into the city and start working at other theaters, because I was doing chiefly People's Light. I wasn't doing any other theaters because, that I lived out there and a company member and all of that. So we had every year Stephen and Abby would have a conversation with each company member to find out where they are and how things were how they felt, how we felt we were being treated, the whole business. And so I announced at that meeting that I was moving into the city. And Stephen Novelli said, "Why?" And Abby looked at Stephen and went, "Stephen!" It was kind of funny. But eventually I moved into Philadelphia at 23rd and St. Albans, down there where Odunde is,
Yes.
yeah. I was in high school. I liked theater, but I was first violin concert master, and
Kathy,
yeah,
you play the violin?
I used to, and I still have it, but yeah. I studied with a member of the St. Louis Symphony for a couple of years. Yeah.
Come on now. Come on.
Yeah. But they wouldn't. I couldn't do theater and the orchestra, and I was not about to give that up. So I waited until I graduated high school, and then I got into a community theater group called the Richard B. Harrison Players. And you'll never guess what play I did. The first play I ever did.
What was it? Let me think. I can't get it. Who was it?
A Raisin in the Sun.
Everyone.
Yeah.
First, listen.
Yeah. A Raisin in the Sun.
The black actor is staple. I'm like,
Yeah.
it was on the tip of my tongue. I was like, I can't be raised in the sun. Sabrina, that's not that obvious.
Yeah. That was the first play I ever did. Mama, you don't understand. It's all a matter of ideas, and God is just one idea I don't accept. Whop! Yeah, and since then I have portrayed Ruth and Ma. I did Ruth in Maryland at I can't.
Maryland?
Yeah,
That's
at
where
the.
I'm from.
Oh, really?
Baltimore.
The theater in theater. Oh shoot, I can't think of it right now. But anyway, and then I did Mama. I did a reading. We didn't do a full production, but we did a reading, and I portrayed Mama at the Arden. So I've done all three of those women.
That's an art.
Yeah.
They are all three so different women.
Oh
Yet
yeah,
the same.
yeah. And the interesting thing about it, when I played Ruth, Ruth was 32 years old, and I was 52. I was 52 when I played
It
Ruth.
was like, listen.
Well, but the woman that played Mama was the same age as me.
What?
Yeah, but she had a lot of girth.
Oh yeah.
And,
like, listen.
and she was fierce. She was fierce.
You gotta be.
She's not with us anymore, but she was fierce. Yeah.
I'm gonna bug you about like theater in Maryland because I love Maryland theater.
Olney Theatre.
I know Olney.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
that's where I did it.
I
Yeah.
have a friend who does shows on Olney.
Yeah.
They love it out there.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm what my mother referred to as a social butterfly, and I don't. I find it very difficult to see negativity anywhere, However, I do know it exists, but I have a tendency to glissandra over it and not face it, not because it's unpleasant, and that's that may or may not be a good quality, but that's who I am. Now, I have talked with young actors who have found it difficult to break in, but that's true anywhere you go, But I don't know, Sabria. Because it's a matter of growth, and as we move into the future, I've gotten older, and I feel like I'm kind of being left behind, because, in terms of work, and it's just the reality of the thing, You know, the older you get, the less work I just see growth. I see change. Anytime there's change, there's room for growth. There's room for spreading out and new ideas and new ways of thinking. Well, actually, it's happening. It's beginning to happen. Support of the individual artists, and I think Theater Philadelphia has basically reached out and sort of bolstered the artists here in Philadelphia, and even with the changes, you know, and the different ways of calibrating the awards, and you know, all of that, I think is an effort to support and bolster the artist, and that's what I see. Beforehand, it was more about the organization, you know, when it was a cultural alliance, and the focus was not necessarily on the individual artists. Where here with Theater Philadelphia, you see the focus on the artist, and I feel that there's more support, you know. I think that's basically what it is, Sabria. Just the bolstering of the individual artists, taking care of the artists. I see that more abundantly in Theater Philadelphia than the other organizations beforehand. It's kind of taking care of, you know, being aware of the needs, and taking action of that awareness, you know. That's basically what I see.